Kapper here, and welcome back. Since I'm laid up after my procedure, I thought I'd dig through some old files and put something together that you guys really haven't seen yet. So I dug up some of our old stuff from our original Kentucky farm, and I'm going to run this down for you. As a matter of fact, it wasn't far from our new one. So this is the Kentucky farm. We purchased 188 acres, but the realtor said that he knew for a fact it was much bigger than that. So I trusted his word, and we did not get it surveyed. So up on the top there, that's a nice river there that it actually butted up against. So it was kind of an arrowhead shape like this. And we paid for 188 acres. And then this top piece right here, we ended up actually selling this to a neighbor. It's a straight down cliff. I mean, you could hardly even walk the cliff, much like one of the ones on the new Kentucky 201. So this was the ridge here to cliff. So we could hardly ever even go down there anyways, and they wanted it because it was going to make their property better. So we were only supposed to sell like 5 or 8 acres here, but when we had the survey done, it came out to be 22 acres. And we paid like $1,600 an acre, and we sold this, only 3 months after buying it for $2,000 an acre. So we already made a decent profit, and basically it was all bonus ground. Then we had it surveyed, and it actually surveyed out to 204. And then we strategically purchased this other piece, which was 13 acres, and it tied it all together. So we ended up with I think 202 something after this. So we made out very, very good on this deal. This was just one of them that it laid out really nice, and the survey gave us a bonus 15 or 20 acres. So you could see the fields here. They're not great for farmers, but man, they were spread out so beautifully for a hunting farm, recreation. It was a wonderful, wonderful farm. And I'm going to go through it and kind of try to figure out why we sold it. So it laid out very, very big. So it was like 205 after we sold that piece, but it laid out like a 250. Alright, so these next clips I'm going to play here is how I make video virtual showings, if you will, for Mrs. Kapper over the years, because she's usually busy at work, can't travel around much. So I take video clips and I kind of narrate to kind of show her what it is, and then once I get back home we can go over it. So it was a beautiful, beautiful property. It had caves on it too, which I kind of miss. But let's hear some of these video clips that I do to make her a virtual tour. Okay, I'm up on a stump next to the gate. Jeez, I gotta whisper. I'm going to give you a 360 view. The line goes right down, follows the wood line. There's the camper. And this line goes down into them woods way down. This is the view from the camper. Alright, it's an old camper here. He's figuring they probably would leave it. He said they got it actually pretty nice in there. And then a little steel hut for your cars. But this, even though it's right by the front gate, could easily be a building site. It is so far remote. This is really unbelievable. Beautiful. Well, my first wildlife possum kind of startled me. He's nibbling on a dead coyote right here, and I saw a dead deer carcass right over there. I see there's deer parts here, bones laying all here. Where are you going, possum? You can't go any higher. I ain't gonna hurt you. $80 grand.
told you, but you didn't believe me, did you?
I want to see a giant one, man. All right, this is the exit. This is all crop and then CRP.
This is all CRP on the left. And when that comes out, when that comes out of CRP, it'll start planting crops.
Okay, so then once we got it purchased, we dove right in there. Now keep in mind at this time we were living up in Wisconsin, which was like an 8 or 9 hour drive. So we had a cool weekend. The boys came down. At that time, you'll see here I had the John Deere tractor, no excavator, but here I'm marking off a new micro plot for the bulldozer, which we're going to have. So I hired a guy to come in for some dozer work to make new trail system and a few new micro plots right away, and just get that out of the way, get it done, because it was such a long drive for me. This was just the best way to do it. So we built a new trail system that didn't exist, and then I started setting up trail cams to get a sense of what's out there. And like almost every single property we've ever bought, there's no mature bucks. I mean, it's just very few guys actually have the patience and the fortitude to let deer grow. However, the guys that bought it from me, I keep in touch with, they were discouraged, and I put these blinds in also. They were discouraged because they weren't getting anything big to grow. But then after the third year now, they said they have tons of big bucks there. So it just takes a few years. And here was a culvert I was fixing because this one was washing out with the John Deere. These are Maverick blinds. They were kind of real cheap ones, but I made them work with these wood towers, and they did a pretty good job. I mean, there was a few decent deer, but nothing, you know, too major to get excited about. We did kill, I made the decision that, you know, this was shortly after I had a different health scare, kind of, and I had to quit work. So the kids came, I said, hey, if you want to shoot one, because we never even seen deer as big as down here. Keep in mind, at least the deer were 2-year-olds here. They had good genetics, and they were pretty big, where back up in Wisconsin, where every like 10 and 20 acre parcel has like 6 guys hunting on it, you know, with high powered rifles. The properties were much bigger out here. I'll let this run for you John Deere guys here for a minute so you can kind of salivate over the old John Deere. I do miss my GMC truck though. That was a diesel, and in hindsight I should have kept that instead of getting the Ford, but we know how that is. So I also put up some corn feeders. And this one here, my son shot his biggest buck ever, which I'll show you here later in the video. And my daughter shot her biggest buck here in Kentucky. This is one of the new micro plots that needs to be mowed. Alright, I'm just about to leave and go meet Blake with the bulldozer. We're done. Thought I'd take one video for you. The dog barking was short-lived, thank goodness. So it's back to nice and quiet. So then our next phase, we decided we were going to build a small cabin down there. And the lessons we learned are for a whole nother story about stuff that happens down here, builders and such. But anyways, our plan was we built this small cabin at the front of the property. There was already power up in a beautiful field way back into the property, that we would wait till we could move down here. We could live in the cabin and while our new house was being built, and then after that we'd keep the little cabin as a guest house, like if the kids want to come and visit. Plans obviously have changed along the way several times, but we were able to basically just get our money back out of the whole project without really losing anything. I don't know that we made a small profit or not, but that was our plan. But we did have a lot of good times. Let me show you some of the hunting fun that we had. My daughter and my son, like I said, they each killed their 2 biggest bucks down there. I killed a pretty nice one. It was a little bit smaller than I had hoped, but we had a good time. I think we had this about 2.5 years, give or take. Are you serious? You kidding me? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Just sitting there. And look at this. This is that road along the river. Miles and miles of uninterrupted farmland. Beautiful. Wow.